out the Football Fan app.
My skills.
My photos.
Our podcasts.
My views. My mates.
His banter, man.
My live score update.
Our fan coin rewards.
My followers.
And it's all for you. Download the dedicated Football Fan app, made by football fans for football fans.
Welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts, sponsored by the Football Fan app. Get it downloaded now. Scan that lovely little QR code above my head, and we'll talk a little bit more about, honestly, the best sporting app for fans there is anywhere. We'll get into why later, so get it downloaded, get it ready. I'm joined as ever by the golden child. It's Tuesday afternoon. It's Lee Gunner. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very well, man. 32 degrees today, Terry. The sun is shining. I've got sun, sand, sea. Not got a new car, though.
You've seen the new motor. You've seen the new motor.
One more for the fleet. Like, how many do you want? Where'd you go?
My fourth car. That's all.
Your fourth car. Like, so this year's been a mad year for you. You've got a new girl. You've had new hair, and you've got new car. What a year.
bro, yeah.
You need to thank the audience, mate.
I know. I love the football terrace community. Equally, I work very, very hard for it all.
No, you do. To be fair, I need to start streaming 3 times a day,
mate. 7 days a week, 3 times a day. That's what we do. That is what we do. Where's the lamb?
Big up to you, man. You fully deserve it because you graft as well. Real talk. You actually graft. I'm not trying to blow smoke and all of that, but yeah, you do actually graft, mate. You do.
I try my best. The only thing I need is I don't need anything new. I just need to get rid of. I need to get rid of something new. I need to get rid of this new layer of fat over my stomach because I have got proper dad bod going on.
Don't worry. If they drop all the donations in today, mate, you can treat yourself for Christmas.
A bit of liposuction. I ain't going to.
You know what? Real talk, right? All jokes aside, I found out the other day, and funny enough, it was through Yanamize. I see a video of his pop up on YouTube, and I thought, let me have a watch of this because he was talking about how he finances his cars and stuff like that. Did you know you can actually get discount at certain car dealerships on lease cars or purchasing a car? Yeah, if you've got over 100,000 followers. It's a social influencer package or something. Yeah, and one of his cars, he got, I think, about 60% off the monthly payments. Yeah, because he's got so many followers. And I think that was Mercedes, I think, or BMW, one of the two. But Mercedes, BMW, Audi, I think all of them do it.
A lot. In fact, a lot. See, advertising is worth so much money that if someone's got, like, say, if you've got 100,000 active and like loyal Instagram followers, you could walk into so many businesses. I had a friend that has got a lot of Instagram followers, and legitimately, right, he got both his arms and his back completely covered in tattoos. What he wanted by a tattoo artist who did it all for free, as long as he Insta post and tagged them in the post, and the amount of new followers they got and the business they got outweighed charging him. So there's a lot of that goes on. So I'm not surprised to see it in the car industry. Lots to talk about on the show as well today, people. We will be covering and getting Lee's thoughts on the Manchester and the North London derby. We'll be talking about Ronaldo to quit United, Maguire's abuse, or is it criticism? And we're going to be talking a little bit about Liverpool. Of course, they play in the Champions League tonight. Make sure if we hit 850 likes while we are live, then we will most certainly give out some new free memberships. Super chat here straight away, very early, says, hello, my boys. Hello, Gunner Down Under. How are we? Buzzing after bleaching those doves, 3-1. Lol, Ronaldo should be allowed to leave. The term "no player is bigger than the club." He's the only one that ever could question that phrase. I mean, it's a good, very good super chat. Thank you for the donation. I think it's a good point to start on. Really, is kind of this weird phenomenon that's gone on in the last 48 hours. United get battered by City. It's because we didn't play well, and yet all the talk is about Ronaldo disrespecting him for not playing him. You've got sort of Rio Ferdinand going at Carragher saying basically like he shouldn't be attacking Ronaldo. Ronaldo should have been on the football pitch. It's wrong not to play him. What's your take on it? One, do you think it's disrespectful to have not put Ronaldo on? And two, should we be getting rid of him in January?
It's not disrespectful at all. I've seen a lot of people saying that as well. I see what Roy Keane and Micah Richards had to say after the game. And Roy Keane's listen. I like listening to Roy Keane, by the way. He just says it as it is. But yeah. I'd have to question whether Ronaldo did actually have any options, because he was saying that he knows that for a fact. So Ronaldo and him obviously speak. I'd imagine so. Ex-Man United players, they'd obviously speak. Obviously, Ronaldo is a Man United. Well, maybe an ex-Man United player at the minute. But yeah, he said that he knows 100% that he had offers. If that's the case, then why didn't Man United get rid of him? The only thing I can think that they didn't get rid of him, the reason being, is for the amount of marketing and merchandise. So they'd keep him for that. Maybe they've got certain deals with certain sponsorships with companies to say that Ronaldo has to be there for this season. So if they got rid of him, then obviously that breaks the contract potentially. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just making it up on the spot. Yeah, but that could be a reason why he ain't gone. Maybe he did have offers, Terry. Maybe Man United did do it because of that reason. Maybe the fact that the amount of shirt sales. I know Man United get paid up front for the shirts, for the Adidas. You're with Nike, yeah? Nike?
Adidas, I think.
Oh, you're with Adidas as well.
Yeah, Adidas.
So you'd get paid up front as well. But any shirt name and number, the club get all of that. Ronaldo's going to outsell one of that football club. So
as much as you get paid, like I think we get 75 million a year as a guaranteed fee. That does actually reduce when we don't make the Champions League. But equally, you still have to hit a quota. Otherwise, you lose out of the following year. And you know, Man United now, when we first did that deal in 2014, we were averaging 2.8 to 3.1 million shirt sales per year back then. We're now doing between 1.6 and 1.9 per year. So Man United are already panicking because at the end of the shirt renewal, it may maintain itself at about 75 million a year. But in terms of market value, it hasn't risen in a decade, which shows you, which in all intents and purposes means you're going backwards, you know, because inflation goes up, right? So if you're earning £10,000 a year in 2022 and you're earning £10,000 a year in 2032, you're earning less money because things are more expensive. So Man United are going backwards in that department. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was still an element of Glazonomics. But equally, I keep hearing, oh, they should have let him go. The only way we could have cancelled his contract, that is true. We could have done that, and maybe we should have done. But no one wanted Ronaldo.
That's what I think. Nobody wanted him.
No one really wanted him. Like, Ronaldo was available. Man United were willing to let him go for a 20-odd. I think if you said to United, we'll cover his wages, a menial fee, 5 million, 10 million pound, Man United would have done it. I think Erik ten Hag was trying to protect Ronaldo by saying, I did it for him out of respect. I don't think Ten Hag wants to play him at all. I don't think he wants to play him one little bit. We've seen it happen twice now, when Martial's been on that bench. It's Anthony Martial he's turned to first. And yeah, he'll say Martial needed minutes. But Ronaldo needs some minutes in this team and in this structure as well. And he didn't give it to him.
But who's got a future at the football club under Ten Hag? Because it ain't Ronaldo. I think it's been pretty clear since Ten Hag's come in. Ronaldo ain't gonna be his guy, man. Martial has got more about his game right now than Ronaldo for Ten Hag in Ten Hag's system. Yeah, and I don't think it's disrespectful to not have played him at all. Like, at the end of the day, that comment, big up Gunner Down Under as well. He said potentially Ronaldo is bigger than club. Nobody's bigger than Man United. Like, real talk, yeah. Like, I love you to bits, bro. He's a sound guy, that guy. Yeah, but no player is bigger than Man United. Even Ronaldo. Yes, Ronaldo might have more followers and all of this and that. Yes, Ronaldo can get money in, but Ronaldo is 38 this year, isn't he? Is it 37, 38 or whatever he is?
Yeah.
Bro, his legs have absolutely gone. They have gone. And if you're going to play against Manchester City, we've seen it this season, yeah, that you have to play deep, like Palace did. I know Palace lost 4-2 in the end, right? And you have to play deep and you have to counter and you have to run and run and run. And Palace took them apart in the first half. I watched the game. Yeah, second half, totally different ball game, because you can't run and run and run and run and run for 90 minutes non-stop. You have to bring your subs on and hope that the subs are at the same level that the players you're taking off were at for the first 60 minutes or whatever. That's where Palace fell apart, because the subs that came on weren't on the level. Yeah, and then Man City's quality just took over in the end, which is going to happen quite a lot this season. They were 3-1 down to Newcastle, bang, bang, got a draw out of it. You know, potentially could have won the game as well. But you know, I just think that, you know, there's a lot of people that are clinging on to, oh, Ronaldo could have done something. Oh, at least bring him on as a sub. Bring him on for what?
Well,
Martial is going to be more important to Man United going forward under this manager that you have now than Ronaldo. So play him in the Europa League. Yeah, Martial is going to be an important cog in Ten Hag's system. Yeah, and look, and the thing is, I don't even understand why people are making a scene out of it. Martial came on, was your best player. Like, in the whole game, that ain't even a debate.
And scored 2 goals.
Exactly.
So, like, Ronaldo could have scored us goals. To score 3 in that game flattered us so much. Ronaldo wouldn't have done anything more. And this is what happens. So, I am someone who has a deep-rooted respect for Ronaldo as a footballer. He is my GOAT on a personal preference level. In terms of what I've enjoyed watching the most in my life in football, he has been my number 1. Absolutely love him. But there's no room for sentimentality in football. And I heard what Rio Ferdinand said today, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but essentially, with the body of work that he has got, he scores goals, and scoring goals is the hardest skill in football, which I totally agree with. He should be given more of a chance and an opportunity. But this is about mother time. This is about age, and this is about being past your best. And in my opinion, Ronaldo will have a few spurts this season where he scores some goals. I'm not denying that. But we will play better football more consistently without him. And my own view would be this to Rio. If I got the opportunity to sit with Rio, would be this. I think Rio Ferdinand is arguably the best centre-back the Premier League has ever seen, but he's definitely in the top 5. But he wasn't in the top 5 centre-backs in the league when in his last year at United. He definitely wasn't in the top 5 centre-backs in the league when he went to QPR because age caught up with him and he regressed. And I feel that the biggest mistake Ronaldo made wasn't trying to leave Man United per se. It was missing out on pre-season. And I think over the summer, missing out on pre-season, his body's gone through some changes and he just looks even slower than last year. Some of his turns. I watched him play against Spain the other day, and there's 2 or 3 times.
I watched it as well.
There's 2 or 3 times where he went to run away from defenders who, even 3 years ago, he'd have left for dust. Even when he joined Man United
against Salisu for Southampton, yeah, and like he had, I think it was Bruno put him in, yeah, and he was gone. And the Ronaldo of even 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, you're like, well, now the burners are on for 10 yards, and now you're not catching him.
But he even did it at the start. Go back to the start of last season against Newcastle. The second goal in that game he scored, ball got played through, took 1 touch, and he accelerated past defenders. The problem is at 37, 38, at that age, you see it in all sports, and often it's more noticeable in singular sports. You see it with boxers. I remember watching James DeGale's last fight against Eubank Jr., and DeGale, in my opinion, in his pomp, beats him. David Hay versus Bellew. David Hay, 5 years younger, less injuries, less miles on the clock, beats him. Mike Tyson, when he got beat by Danny Williams, it's a great day for Danny Williams, but I felt it was a horrible day for boxing because Mike Tyson, half asleep with 1 arm in his pomp, beats Danny Williams inside a minute of a fight. So this is what I'm now seeing with Ronaldo, and hindsight's obviously a very lucrative commodity. I really do wish now that Ronaldo retired a year or so ago because
he shouldn't have come back to United. Yeah, that comment has just popped in the chat. Yeah, from Jordan Brown says Ronaldo's mistake was coming back to the club in the first place to get the headlines over Messi. Yeah, because Messi's doing it in a lesser league. Yeah, and the comparisons would always be Messi and Ronaldo, always, until that era is completely dead and buried.
Well, that's why this summer he did have the opportunity to go to Sporting Lisbon. And maybe he wouldn't have scored too many Champions League goals for them. But, domestically, he in that league.
I'd run riot.
Oh, yeah. He'd go there and score, 20-odd league goals. He may be. Look, Sporting Lisbon are a pretty good team right now. They've got a lot of legs around them. I actually watched them. I know they beat Spurs in the end. But when I was watching them against Spurs, my thought was they've got all the tricks and the flicks and the passing, just no one to put the ball in the back of the net. So, again, he'll probably rue that. The Premier League for me is too powerful and too quick. And I feel, people that have never really liked him or know he's brilliant, but have always had a grudge to bear because of who he played for, they're going to enjoy this. I'm not enjoying seeing this. One, he's a Man United player and it's not good.
I'm enjoying seeing him have his little tantrums, man. It's like
he's one of my legends. He's one of my legends. I feel bad for him. I feel bad.
No, you know what? I get it, Terry, right? But at the same time, it's not about him. Yeah, the one thing I do agree with Roy Keane, he said there's trouble ahead. There will be trouble, mate. Unless you bin him off in January, that is going to be problems,
mate. You are spot on when you say that, and that's one of my biggest kind of takes from this is that we have to get rid of him in January. For me, it is as obvious as my hairline growing back that the manager doesn't really want him. All the things the manager said about him have been.
But then where does he go? Like genuinely, real talk, right? The guy's apparently on around 500 grand a week.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's on free. He's on. It's been reduced around 360 because we're not in the Champions
League. Who's paying it, Terry? What
top? Mate, but this is where Ronaldo needs to listen to people. He needs to listen to his agent and take a pay cut. Okay, or beyond that, Man United have got to do something here. United have got, again, this is falling on legacy mistakes. But let's just say Sporting Lisbon are prepared to pay him 200 grand a week. We will just need for the rest of the season to cover the 160. We need to get him out because it doesn't matter whether Ronaldo's a bad or a nice guy. I'm not even worried about that. Typically in football, when a player isn't wanted or used and they're a fairly big profile, it becomes a little bit toxic. Man United players complained a few years ago that our reserve goalie wasn't allowed to leave. They were upset with the football club that they made Romero stay for another year. That wasn't because there wasn't massive infighting. It was just he's our friend and he wants to play football and you've not allowed him to do it. We need to be careful that we don't create further problems as we did for Oli, as we did for Jose, by keeping or getting rid of players that the squad wants and needs. And we need to get that balance right. So for me,
we had this with Ozil.
He's got to go.
We had this with two managers with Ozil. Yeah, very similar situation. Yeah, like not being picked, not being played, being substituted, not in the match day squad, stuff like that. Yeah, and then he turned into a football Twitter account. Yeah, because he was literally it was literally a football Twitter account. He was just sitting there going, "Who's going to win today, guys?" and putting polls up on Twitter while he's watching the game that he should have been playing. Bro, it was mad. Yeah, but for all the stick Unai Emery got, like it was Unai Emery who started that ball rolling. Like, and the thing is, it was the right thing for the football club because he was nicking 350 out the club. Yeah, and he was a massive problem. And I think people downplay how much of an ego these footballers have, especially when you're that level of pay, right? Because Terry, you've worked in companies, I've worked in companies. When you're doing well and you're earning good money, yeah, you're like, yeah, whatever, mate. Who are you telling me what to do? Like, it's natural. Like, you can't do what I'm doing.
And that's mad
in the dressing room.
And bro, and this is where sometimes I get, and I mean this not to sound condescending, but it will. When people haven't had the life experience yet to have seen these things happen in multiple industries in real life. And when I was 16, 18, 20, 21, I hadn't seen these things either. Because you just haven't lived long enough yet. It's not a dig, it's just the truth. But when I worked in like a sales role for the biggest bank in Europe, when I was very fortunate to always be delivering. There was a guy I worked with. Can I name him? Yeah, I will name Chet's. He was better than anybody, and he got away with murder, being late, being insubordinate. Man got caught spending money on taking his girlfriend out on the corporate card. Got away with everything. Do you know why he got away with it? Because he made that department so much money. When his performance slipped, though, and he wasn't delivering, do you know how quickly they got rid of him? It was almost like, it felt like almost overnight. It was almost, well, we're going to move this guy on now because he isn't delivering the numbers anymore and he's still being a bit of a problem for us. Eric Cantona wasn't a problem at Man United, but he got away with
coming in without a suit on.
Well,
turning up late for training.
This is a great story
for training.
This is a great story of Eric Cantona, but it's because he delivered. He was the star and driving force of 4 Premier Leagues in 5 years for a team that hadn't won a league title in nearly 3 decades. And it was an event, and he turned up. So basically, first of all, it was I think Giggs and Beckham and Neville and a few others were there. And Fergie walked up to him saying, "What you guys dress like? Tuck your shirt in, do this, like smarten up."
Representing United.
Represent. Yeah. And they were all in like trousers and shirts, but some of them were untucked. And I think Giggs said the back of his shirt was out and he made them tuck it all in and he had a go at them all, said no drinking, nothing. And then Eric Cantona walked in a pair of shorts, flip-flops and a t-shirt. Fergie walked up to him, handed him a drink, which no one else was allowed, and was like, "Eric," and put his arm around him and was like, basically walked him over to the other United players and went, "Listen, guys, this is what you call style." But he allowed Eric to get away with things.
But could you imagine that now? Like, everyone else is riot now in nowadays football.
But they wouldn't. So I think people would and they wouldn't. If I guarantee, if Haaland keeps scoring like this, Haaland will get away with a few things that other players in that City team can't. However, as long as you're all winning and it's going well, there's not a problem. It's when it goes the other way, when you're losing, when you're missing out. Because the thing is, if you look at the kind of criticism that certain Man United and Arsenal players have got in the last 10 years, if we in the last 10 years, you'd have won 3 league titles, we'd have won 4, you'd have won 2 Champions Leagues, and we'd have won 1, we wouldn't have been criticizing our teams how we have been. So what then would happen is, one of the players that gets away with a bit of murder, because the team's not being targeted, they're not then turning on each other in the dressing rooms. You can get away with it when you're successful, but when you're not, and the scrutiny and the pressure's on you, you have to be whiter than white, cleaner than clean. You have to be squeaky clean. You really, really do. You have to be. Otherwise, you get in trouble. There's a super chat here that says, I completely agree with the term, Lee. What I'm trying to say is that a player who has been so pivotal to a lot of Man United's honours and successes in the past comes back to give them whatever he has left in the tank, shouldn't be held against his ambitions. I agree with that to a degree, but one thing I'd say about this is I want the club to take the stance here that we're in control. And the reason I say that is this, like, this kind of idea of loyalty. Clubs shouldn't be loyal to players, and players shouldn't be loyal to clubs in spite of winning, instead of winning. You know, if Ronaldo really wants to leave and he's upset, you should let him go. Because ironically, Man City are brilliantly run. If a player isn't happy and wants to leave, as long as the right offer comes in, they let them go. They don't hold people.
Bernardo's the perfect scenario. Pep even came out in the media all summer and said, look, if he wants to go, he can go. I'm not going to stand in front of his career. It's his career.
That
even if that was going to potentially a direct rival for Champions League football, like, do you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, mate, like, I agree with a lot of what you say, Gunner Down Under, but Ronaldo coming back, and you said it's being held against his ambitions, shouldn't be held against his ambitions to give him like the last drop out the tank. I don't think it was him coming back to give him the last drop out the tank to win him a title. If Ronaldo thought he was going to ever win Man United a title, then he's deluded. Real talk, he's deluded. He came back to stat pad again in the Premier League, like he's done all around Europe, and get all of his and look at me because Messi's in France, because he's always had an inferiority complex about Messi. Yeah, he has. He changed his whole game style because of Leo Messi. Mate, you can't even debate that, Terry. He changed his whole game. He was a left winger, and he converted to a striker, a very good one at that, in terms of goal scoring.
I think he converted. I don't think it was personally because of that. I think what he did is very much in the same ilk as we saw from, for instance, Ryan Giggs, where he couldn't be as impactful as he got older because he was all about. Ronaldo had good skills, but he was all about explosion.
You're comparing him to Giggs.
No, let me make my point. You'll understand why. He was all about... Let me speak. I
was going to say, Giggs, he dropped into midfield and was running the show, mate. This guy can't even get on the pitch.
Yeah, but he was different. Ryan Giggs, as he got older, couldn't... If Ryan Giggs at 39, 40 could have run down the wing like he did when he was 21, he would have stayed on the wing, but he couldn't do it anymore. Ronaldo had to adjust his game because his younger years on the wing was all about explosion. And when you get to your late 20s, early 30s, 99% of athletes lose that explosive pace in football.
Rather than Messi, then.
Messi's
had that explosive burst, and he had that way into.
Messi isn't as fast now as he used to be. But the difference between the two, one thing that Messi has always been better than Ronaldo at is his ability to dribble past people. In my opinion, was based more on his technical ability rather than speed and power. Ronaldo would do like leg overs and flicks and tricks, but he would do that.
You underestimate Messi's speed and power. Yeah, no, Messi
I'm not underestimating it. I'm explaining that I think Messi is the kind of player that at 45 will still be able to dribble past people. Ronaldo's dribbling was based more on speed.
And I always say this is
bro, that's a fair opinion. I base who I pick as my GOAT based on my preference. Like, who are the Beatles your favorite artist ever?
No, if I had to pick favorite band, Oasis all day long.
Yeah, but obviously, you got to remember, like the Beatles' music inspired Oasis's music, and they sold about at that 100
Yeah,
times.
like Messi
for
inspired
records.
Ronaldo to be a striker.
But the point,
I'm shot,
no,
close, all ends up.
but you're not closing it because you haven't actually listened
That's
to my
1-0 this week,
no,
Terry.
you actually haven't listened to my point is you prefer Oasis on preference, not on.
You were Blur, weren't you? Tell me you were Blur.
No, I was Oasis. But
Okay.
my point is not about who you prefer. It's the Beatles actually invented a style of music that never existed before. They did things in the music industry that were groundbreaking, as an example, but they're still not my favorite band of all time. Just because Messi can do things that Ronaldo can't doesn't mean I'm going to prefer Messi, because it's all based on what I'm saying. It's all based on preference. And
yeah, it is on preference. Remember when I went viral everywhere for saying that Zola and Cantona were in my top 3 and Bergkamp, yeah? That's because I like a player that is mad skillful in a position where they will still bag a load of goals, yeah, and they will still be able to dribble past people, their visions. That is why I will always put Messi, plus the goal scoring he does as well, by the way. Messi is so levels clear of pretty much any footballer I've seen in my lifetime. That guy is like Velcro.
And bro, I can
goal scoring, Terry, and the ability. Like I don't know if you see the comments from Pep about Haaland. Yeah, and he said no, he's not the same as me. He's nowhere near Messi. Like Messi could win the game on his own. Yeah, like he could run around everyone. This guy, he needs his team around him. That wasn't disrespecting Haaland.
And I totally understand that. And again, this is what I always say to people. I'm very happy to change my whole outlook on football if we want to make it a metric. And we create a metric, and there's a tick box for every type of attribute that a footballer can have, from dribbling ability to how many trophies they've won, to how many goals they've scored. And we just tick the boxes, and then we decide who the best is. But the problem when you do that is that after that metrics is created, football debate ends, because it's all based on objective achievements and abilities. When it's based on subjectivity, some people will look at what Messi does and go, that's the best thing I've ever seen. Some people will like direct footballers. In fact, my favorite footballers that I enjoy watching are boring. Michael Carrick's, Pillows. I used to love what Claude Makélélé did. I used to enjoy being in the stadium.
I bet you were a Shearer fan as well, wouldn't you? Every time he scored, you do that stupid celebration.
No. Because when I say boring, I just mean they didn't do things spectacular in the game. But
boring's not the right word, Terry. Boring's underplaying them players.
No, I say boring because it's not things that people highlight as.
See, Gilberto, you could put in that bracket, right?
What I used to like in the games, I used to like sitting in the stadium and watching Claude Makélélé shield the back four. I'd sit there and watch it and go, look at his positioning. So I'd be watching the game in the stadium and I'd look at him and go, look at him drifting slightly to the left as the play's moving over, because he knows that's where the ball's going to come, and he wins it back and he feeds it on. I used to love watching him do that. But again, it's not something that's sexy and exciting within football, so it doesn't get spoken about as an important skill. And for me, it's a massive one. So that's preference. A lot of people would know it will go to a game and they wouldn't even notice that, let alone focus on that as the ideal point. One of the reasons I like Haaland is because watching players like him drift into space that no one else. And I'm telling you now, there's probably only 2 or 3 footballers on planet Earth right now that see the space and the openings that Haaland does. That's why he's so specialist. But again, I enjoy that. A lot of people just think he's a tapping merchant. But viewers, make sure you're smashing the like buttons and subscribing to the Terrace. Terry, what do you base your assertions on that Man City are brilliantly run? I base it on the fact that they have maintained a high level of consistency. How they managed to, part of that is Pep Guardiola, but how do they employ Pep Guardiola? It was creating a foundation and base over I want to say it was 6 to 7 years before he came in. I don't quite know the exact dates. They built and they got better every single year, and they got the club into a point where it was ready to hire a manager of his caliber and of his quality. They are growing their revenues on a regular basis.
They've got an insane academy.
The academy is brilliant. The scouting network works.
Amazing setup.
The way their club works, their under-9 girls team play the same style of football as the men's team. There is universal cohesion.
But you can see the Barcelona effect in there, because I think their CEO, I think he's from Barca.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. I mean, the thing is, you don't need to reinvent the wheel when running a football club properly. You look at the clubs, and Barca is such a great example of a well-run club. And what I mean by that is this. When it fell apart, it was because for a period of, someone said to me, Barca are not well-run. They were for many years. And as soon as they started, the people at the top started messing around, breaking the law, they fell off. They've been run properly again for less than 12 months, and they're already one of the best teams in Europe again. Because
and not only that, Terry, yeah, they they get decent money for their players. Like if you look at forget Jesus and Sterling, yeah, I'm not talking about just this summer. They got rid of Ferran Torres for 55 million, yeah, in a January window.
No, mate, I know.
And I'm saying, if you actually look how much money Man City, I think Big Steve put it up on his Insta. I'm sure it was him. Since Fergie's left, the amount of money you lot have spent, the amount of money they've spent, yeah, you have spent more money than them. Yeah, and look at the achievements they've had. And you've gone from Fergie leaving you with a title-winning team. They were still in the shadow, really, weren't they?
That's one of the biggest points I always make to people. You're well run because you spend a lot of money. It makes me want to bite a glass. It makes me want to I want to chew glass when I hear that people say it. It's like you can't. Like, some of these humans that think like this can breed, and it makes me really worried for humanity because I think life isn't that simple, my friend. Look beyond the end of your nose. City are a well-run club, whether people like it or not. Terry, Ronaldo staying makes sense because we didn't get a striker. Martial is injury-prone, and we can't rely on Rashford. See, again, it makes sense because we didn't get a striker. That's the problem. I get why we kept him, but that it's a bad thing still. It's a bad thing.
No. You don't just keep Ronaldo because you didn't get a striker. Yeah, like Man City have won the league for the last couple of seasons without a striker. So if this manager's as good as Man United fans have been saying he is, surely he can adopt a system that plays with a false nine that's a midfielder. Yeah, you've got some technically good players at your football club.
No,
yeah, you're not as good as Pep's players. Of course, he could put Mahrez up front, Grealish up front, De Bruyne up front. He could put Foden up front. He's done it last season. You could put Eriksen. You've done it this season. You've had Eriksen false nine, and he's played very well at false nine.
I totally get it. And it's someone else's point here says multiple managers spent that money. And again, I don't want to actually dwell on this because it's a subject that actually just makes me angry these days. We know multiple managers. The irony is this: we didn't need to spend 1.4 billion. The reason we've spent so much is because every 2.5 years we start a new rebuild under a new ideology, which means you have to re-spend the money again. It's very boring, very tiring. Every Man United fan giving their money to the club is culpable. That's the end of that conversation. It just really is. I can't even go into it anymore.
You don't want to get triggered again. That's what it is, Terry.
Well, bruv, it's just like I bought my new i8 this week with the money that I was offering anyone to come on and debunk my point that the Glazers are the reason we are where we are. £100,000 cash, I would transfer it. Someone said to me, "You don't have the money." That's why I posted the picture of the new car I bought, because I was like, well, the money's gone to that car. Someone could have won that money. I swear on my children's life, I would have given it away. The reason I'm 100% sure I would have won the debate is because I know 100% facts. They are the reason we are where we are. And I don't mind rivals saying, no, they're not, it's your managers. It's Man United fans saying, well, actually, I think it's...
Yeah, but who hires the manager?
It's exactly. It's crazy. I am absolutely tired of it now. And anyone that wants to say the Glazers aren't the problem, I'm just going to accept it now and move on, because I can't keep wasting brain cells on imbeciles. It's unbelievable.
Right, man. When it all goes wrong, they'll all have their Norwich scarves out again.
Absolutely.
Delia Smith will be going, where are you? Sorry, let's be having you.
I wanted to ask as well, before we move on to the Arsenal stuff, a really big talking point that's come up in the last few days has been abuse. And I wanted to ask you your thoughts on, and I'll tell you where it's come up from, in relation to what's his face, Harry Maguire. So today it's kind of been put out there by a lot of people that Harry Maguire is being, the level of criticism he's getting is now bullying. It's abusive. It's wrong. It's nasty. It should stop. Do you agree that regular criticism is now abuse, or what? Where do you stand on this?
I've seen this a lot, Terry, right? Because I see Gonzalo Higuain posted that he's retiring at the end of the season as well. And again, you don't know what he's been through and this and that. The one thing I will say here, Terry, right, is when you're just a regular Joe like us, and you run a YouTube channel, you are going to check the comments, you are going to read the comments, you are going to interact with the comments. So you are going to see a lot of things that you don't like. And I guarantee you now, you get abused every single day, the same as I do. Yeah, and that don't make it right. But when you're a multi-millionaire footballer in a privileged position, trying to entertain millions of people around the world that support your football club when you're in the limelight every day, you're playing for one of the biggest clubs on the planet. I'm pretty sure that most of these footballers nowadays, not all of them, because we know Aubameyang uses his own Instagram, but I'm pretty sure that most of these people have got managers to manage their social medias. So if they have got that, how are they seeing anything? And I'm pretty sure, and I'm just saying this from my side, right? If I was in the position of Harry Maguire, right, I wouldn't be that cocky to sit in an interview and say, oh, many centre-backs have come and gone at Man United. There's a reason I'm still here. There's a reason I'm captain of Man United. I wouldn't be sitting there doing that, Terry, because now you're opening yourself up for criticism and abuse, right? What I do find mad is if you call him a clown or you call him a prick, yeah, that's now seen as abuse. Well, is Harry Maguire watching your channel? And if he is, you'd have to question why. Because he needs to get better. So stop watching me, mate. Go and train. But at the end of the day, it's not just Harry Maguire, Terry. Yeah, it's Higuain's come out. We've had Granit Xhaka come out, and like some of the stuff Granit Xhaka was at, like that was aimed at him and his family was disgusting. Like I've had it with I've posted a picture of my daughter and people are asking what her body count is. At that time, she was 9. Like, bro, it's mad. Yeah, this is why I don't answer any of my requests on DMs on Instagram anymore. It's pretty simple. You go on Instagram, you load it up, and it says your DMs from people that you follow, and then it says requests. If I don't follow them, unless I click request and open them all up, I ain't seeing them. It's pretty simple. You don't have to see it. There's certain words you can block. You can block whatever you want on these platforms, Terry, yeah? I'm sure you've got words blocked in your chat. I've got loads blocked on mine.
Yeah.
So
I blocked everything connected to Game of Thrones when it was on, so I never found out what happened.
I did that with Lizzie the other week.
I actually do it with everything political, because I use Twitter purely for social media. Yeah. If you're someone who, if I follow you on Twitter and you start retweeting lots of political things, whether it's UK based, international based, I just mute your account because I don't want that on my timeline. So of course you can clear these things out. My issue is
let me stop you very quickly. Sorry, there's a comment here from Ricardo in your chat. Yeah, you received that comment because you caused it. What? Because I don't rate the manager of the football club. You can say that about my daughter.
Yeah,
but I don't sit here, Terry. Yeah, that's the first time you've ever found out about that. That happened. Well, she's 13 in November. That was when she was 9, 10. Yeah, so that was previous managers. That was years ago. Yeah, right. But the point is, I don't sit there going, "Oh, well, I'm getting so much abuse of that," because I can take it, Terry. Yeah, I dish out abuse. I sit and cuss these players left, right, and centre. I've cussed the manager. I've cussed previous players, and I've cussed previous managers. Unless they're watching me or I'm tagging them. Yeah, or I'm directing it to their sister, their mother, and I'm tagging them. Yeah, I'm free to say what I want, and same as everybody else within the parameters of the platform and within the law, right? Where I do find it going over the top is when you get see, that to me is just water off a duck's back. But when you're saying that you're going to do like nastiness or you're going to do some vile and horrible things, and you're aiming at, like we've seen Ian Wright take a geezer to court for some of the stuff that he was DMing him. But again, Righty opened that and see it. Righty didn't have to open it. Fair play for taking him to court. But then when he got to court, he let the geezer off. No, once you've got to court, bang, see you later, mate. Yeah, but he can do what he likes. Every individual's different. But for me, this Harry Maguire thing, right? I've seen it with a lot of your players as well. It's a case of, oh, it's over the top now. Well, why is it over the top? Oh, well, it's over the top because it's now bordering on bullying. All right, what? Well, you play for one of the biggest clubs on the planet, mate. They're going to have one of the biggest fan bases on the planet. So if everyone's of the same mindset about Harry Maguire being crap, yeah, then maybe Harry Maguire should get better. Real talk. Yeah, stay off social media. Stop posting your own stats via your agent. Yeah, and stay off social media. Stop sitting in interviews. Say to Man United, I actually don't want to be captain anymore. Yeah, I just want to concentrate on my game. I don't want to do interviews after the game. Maybe it's contractual. Try and get out of it if you can. But don't sit there in interviews and say, well, I'm here and other defenders ain't, and I'm captain of United. And then cry. Like, I know he's not personally crying about the abuse, but I'm sure that he is one of these players that will sit and watch the abuse that he's getting online. He will search his own name for, nailed on. You can tell that by the interviews he's done.
So let me. I just want to interject for a minute. I want to get a few. I just want to get a few things out about this argument. I agree with.
Quickly, I am listening.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there. There's a few things to me on this though, and I've been talking about it for years, and I've been called one of the abusers in the last few days. I'm very capable of handling that criticism because I know I'm not an abuser. I don't abuse Maguire. I criticize Maguire. Equally, at the weekend when somebody edited a picture of him smiling, I didn't even mention it because it really wasn't important. But I just want to talk about a few things here. First thing is this. So someone quote tweeted a tweet of mine by saying, so I said criticism is not bullying, abuse is. The way we are now amalgamating them together to stop the rightful complaints about Maguire is wrong. And I believe that in both directions. So abuse is never criticism. Bullying is never criticism. Being disgusting about somebody is never criticism. It is abusive and nasty. Equally, fair criticism about someone's behavior, someone's playing style, whether you think someone should be in a team or not, is never abusive. Someone might say, but if you've done it 3 Man United games on the bounce, but if you've been rubbish 3 games on the bounce, I'm going to call it out. It doesn't mean you're being abusive. Someone then quote tweeted that and said, so the bomb scares, wishing him a career-ending injury, wishing his partner a miscarriage, wishing him and his partner death, calling him a clown, body shaming, using fake quotes and edited pictures when he wasn't even part of the game to throw more hate his way is all criticism. And I'm like, see, that's the point. No. So through all of that, bomb scares are not criticism. Wishing him a career-ending injury, wishing a miscarriage on his partner, wishing him death. The body shaming part, I don't quite know what they mean, but no, that isn't criticism.
Maybe they're talking about his head, Terry.
Okay, yeah, maybe his head. Like fake quotes, they were talking about what Mark Ogden said. I'll get onto that in a minute. And then editing pictures. The editing pictures, the miscarriages, the deaths, the bomb scares, 110% they're abusive. I'm not saying anyone should be allowed to do that. My tweet said criticism is fair, not abuse. But what people are doing to try and protect Maguire now is they're trying to amalgamate it all together. That way, if any criticism of Maguire is abuse, they're trying to silence people and stopping them from criticizing him because they just don't like the criticism that a player they have backed is getting. And it shouldn't work in either direction. We should all be calling out abuse. Even if and I'll give you an example. When Fellaini signed a new deal at Man United, I said it was wrong. The next day I did a video condemning, and I put all the Twitter accounts up that did it, that got exposed, that was saying disgusting things, cancer, leg breaks, wish your wife would die, and all this sort of stuff. I called them out. I then got into an argument with multiple big Man United channels, and I said, are you guys going to call out this poor behavior? And they basically had a gut me going, oh, don't drag us into this. We don't want to get involved. I was like, you're the voice of the Man United fans. Like, you've slagged him off for signing a new deal, but you're not willing to condemn people abusing him. So I've always stood up for any player, whether I like them or not, if they've been abused. Equally, you're never going to silence me from criticizing somebody about what they've done or how they're playing by trying to mask it as abuse. And I went through this with Martial. I got accused of being racist because I said Martial was lazy in an individual game. And what I said in my analysis was, I thought he was really lazy today because he didn't make enough progressive runs off the ball to receive passes. So I wasn't talking about pressing. I wasn't talking about getting back and defending. I was talking about making runs off the shoulder against the high line. I thought it was lazy that he didn't put that effort in. Or lazy is a lazy stereotype about him because he's a young black man. But it's nothing to do with his skin color. It's all to do with what I saw on the pitch. And I gave examples, and I gave, there was something credible behind it. My view was the people that were doing that just didn't want me criticizing Martial, so they tried to shame me. They tried to make me feel pressured not to do it.
Yeah, and they try and cancel your opinion on that player.
Yeah, so it's almost like
it's the same as cancel culture, Terry.
Yeah, so
they're not cancelling you off a platform; they're just cancelling you and making you feel scared to out your opinion on a player in case you get abused now.
Exactly,
which is ironic because the people that will call you out, I get it all the time. I had it with Mesut Ozil every week, mate. Like literally every week. I mean, I'm not going to say, but a certain person put a tweet out to a lot of people saying that I'm racist against Turks because I don't rate Ozil. Yeah, and I'm like, talking about me.
But the irony was that same person got called out for not liking Nigerians because he didn't think Iwobi was good enough. And for me, I've always pushed back. If someone says something that is sexist or racist or homophobic or Islamophobic, I'm going to call it out. But criticizing Anthony Martial, 99.9% of people are just criticizing him because they weren't happy with how he played. But back to the Maguire thing and the abuse, that's what some people are trying to do here. Why are
people offended on behalf of Maguire?
Well, but this is the thing. But so there's two sides to the story, though, Lee. The abuse he's getting absolutely has to be called out. But people are using very interesting language. They're just saying the amount of criticism he's getting is crazy, and then the examples of criticism they give are bomb threats and wishing a miscarriage on his missus. I'm like, but that isn't criticism. That's abuse. So what Jamie Carragher should be saying is the volume of abuse this player is getting is a disgrace, because I agree with that. But when you start using the word criticism, Carragher might not have this motivation, but I think he should be very careful of his words. That isn't criticism. It's never criticism to abuse someone. And there's a comment I wanted to put up on the screen from Twisted here. And this is where I push back and will defend Maguire, where he says, there's too much filter in the world. Maguire deserves everything he gets. Maguire doesn't deserve bomb threats and wishing him in death and his girlfriend and or wife and sister having rape threats thrown towards them. So that's the point. They don't deserve any of that. There's nothing Maguire's done that warrants that type of behavior. So whether you like Maguire or not, you should defend him against those things. But this is what I see happen. And this is where the problem arises. There are top Reds coming for me because they don't like that I'm criticizing him and they're calling it abuse. When he gets abused and I defend him, Maguire's haters come for me saying, how dare you defend Maguire? And I look at both sets of these people. I look at both these groups and go, you're both the problem here, because you should all be condemning abuse.
There's an easy way to deal with all of this.
You should all be condemning abuse and you should all be accepting and discuss criticism. If everybody took the right stance here, instead of what I've said is happening for years on social media, we don't criticize the action, we criticize the person doing it. Certain people get away with atrocities and others get absolutely condemned for it. And that's all that's going on here. So
real talk, Terry.
I'll make the final statement. I'll go back to you. Sorry, mate.
On, mate.
I am not going to stop criticizing Maguire when he plays badly, when he makes mistakes, when I feel him and his camp are directly or indirectly leaking information to the media that should be kept behind closed doors. I will always criticize. Equally, I'm going to defend him and every other single football player from outright disgraceful abuse. Why am I going to do that? Because I think I'm a fairly decent human being. And if you're someone that doesn't do that, you need to go and seek help. You're mentally ill if you think abusing footballers is okay, and you've got real problems if me calling someone a clown or not good enough to play for Man United, if you think that is the equivalent of a bomb threat, you equally need to see a doctor. You're not well. You're not well. You're not. Simple as that.
Yeah, the ironic thing about it is, Terry, is the people that are sitting there condemning it are the same people that will send you exactly the same kind of crap. Yeah, because of your opinion about the player. But they all love to be like, oh, look at me, I'm a darling on Twitter, I'm a darling on Insta. Oh, I'm such a nice person. Yeah, really? Well, how comes you're calling me? Like, if you go through your held for review comments, you know what I'm on about. You go through the held for review, you have to tick them up. If I went through mine, mate, I probably wouldn't be here if I was sensitive. Right? I'm not saying that Harry Maguire deserves to have bomb threats, because that's disgusting. That's mad. I remember that story. That was crazy. Yeah, but at the same time, Terry, yeah, I just think that a lot of these footballers, like, let me ask you one question. Do you think Harry Maguire goes home every night and cares about what you say or what millions of other people say? Do you actually think it bothers him? Like, real talk, honestly, do you think he's bothered?
I feel like the criticism, no. I think what does get to these players is, for instance, I'm going to get the story slightly wrong. I didn't read about it before I went live, but I wish I had what Joe Rogan has. Like, Jamie, can you check this for me?
Don't worry. If you haven't bought the car, you can pay for that.
True. But like, I feel like the stuff like I know his sister got some really disgraceful things sent to her. I think that kind of thing can impact someone.
How do you go down the road, Terry? Sorry, mate. Yeah. How do you go down the road of finding out Harry Maguire's sister, then finding out Ats? Yeah. And surely you'd like to think that when it's a high profile footballer or even a low-profile footballer, you'd like to think that their family members are gonna have had the conversation with an agent, with a marketing team, with a media team, with the football clubs to say, look, keep all your socials locked. Don't accept any friend requests. Don't open DMs. I know it's not the right thing to do, but we live in an environment where, Terry, if you went through your DMs and I went through my DMs, we'd probably sit. Like, maybe I should do a show.
My brother, mate, do you know the
that level, and you're now, because we're tiny people.
Mate, I get that, but the irony
when you're in that spectrum and you're Harry Maguire's sister, you know that your brother is playing for Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. And I'm not blaming the sister, by the way. I'm not saying that, but the fact that they found out about them messages means that they've had to physically open them. Yeah, the only way you physically open them, if it's from an anonymous account or just from some idiot online, is you have to search for it.
Well, mate, there are kind of.
I'm not blaming that.
No, I know you're not. Because I have also pushed this message out to a lot of people. I used to get a lot of things said about certain things in my life in the comment section when I used to react to it. As soon as I stopped reacting to the things that upset me, it didn't take too long for people to stop writing them. People will often, if you went online every day saying, guys, please, I don't mind you guys giving me stick, but please don't talk about my children. It really hurts me. I almost guarantee you, every show you do, it's more stuff about your kids, because trolls will be trolls, whether it's your children, whether it's your sexuality,
it's a sign of weakness,
whether it's your hairline, whatever it may be. People will go for what they think is your individual weakest point that will trigger you or upset you. So sometimes the best thing to do is to ignore some of these things. Equally, I do feel as a community, if you see people going too far with too far with abuse towards a player, or the criticism turns into abuse, we have a social responsibility to call it out. But you know why a lot of people don't do it? Especially in the football social media world. It's, yeah, but a lot of those guys, that's my base. That's my base that watch my channel. And I don't want to be calling them out and making them maybe go to another channel where it's acceptable.
I call mine out all the time.
That's what people do. And I know that for a fact. I was told that by a creator. He's like, yeah, but like, if I start calling them out, what if they stop watching me? I'm like, that's your personal choice and I respect it. But for me, that shows me what a coward you are. But that's my view. Like, viewers, I want to go to a few of these super chats that are coming through. Before I do so, I want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor today, the Football Fan app. Now, the Football Fan app is it really is an amazing application. There's no doubt about it. Okay, it's a social app for football fans. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of other social media platforms where it's everything. There's, talking about music, films, politics, recessions, depressing stuff. This app is all about football. I've actually created a really cool room in there today as well. So there's like some private rooms in there as well called banter rooms. If you follow me, you'll see it today for the Liverpool versus Rangers game coming up later. I'll be in that group chat on the Football Fan app throughout the course of the game. And we're going to be doing that for many, many games moving forward now in the Premier League. What's so brilliant about it is that you're incentivized via what they call fan coin. Now, fan coins there's also got a sale going on, which we'll get into in a minute. But fan coins essentially are built up when you post things, when you post videos, when you reply, when you refer people, when you sign people up. As you grow followers, you develop these fan coins. Now, what these fan coins enable you to do are multiple things. You can buy exclusive artwork, NFTs, and much, much more within the app. Within the app, it's, again, unlike other social media platforms, you can upload full-length videos, podcasts, photos, anything like that you want to do. But the fan coins have a brilliant usage as well. Currently, there's about 9,000 products on there. Football shirts, football boots, etc., that you can get discounts on by using the in-house fan coins to reduce the amount of money things cost. Plus, I was told a number, and I forget it now. There's about 100 new organizations signing up with the fan app very, very soon. So there'll be multiple products and multiple things that you'll use in your life that you can get discounts upon. So make sure you get that downloaded right about now. What you'll also see in the link below is FanCoin private sales. So up until the 31st of October, they are selling fan coins. They are 1 pence each. So click on the link in the description below and go and take a look at that. At the end, do it now or before the end of the show, whichever way around you want to do it. But I'm using the app quite regularly now, so I want you guys to go and get yourself signed up to it. Free of charge to download, free of charge to use for the social media elements. Go and get that done right about now, my people. We've got a poll running today as well. I'm not sure if Lee's aware of this poll. Have you seen the poll?
What have you done, Sil?
So the poll states, I'm waiting for it to load up in front of me because it's my computer's got really slow. So it says, when will Lee Gunner become Arteta in? 1 to 3 months, 4 to 6, end of the season, or never. I want to say 49% of the vote right now is saying never. You're never going to become Arteta.
Maybe 49% of the people who voted on it didn't watch the show last week, Terry. And you even maybe they didn't watch your Clips channel either, because I even watched it back.
So some have said never. The next highest ranking is at 20. It was 29%. It might change now. 28% is saying end of the season. 8% think 4 to 6 months. 16% think in the next month to 3 months you will become Arteta in. However, that isn't the question today. That was just a little bit of fun. Give me your thoughts on the North London derby, my friend. Another good win, top of the league, flying. You're flying.
Told everyone would beat them. Mate, I don't know why they get so cocky every year. Like, when the fixture list comes out, real talk, Terry, yeah? The fixture sheet comes out in July. And as an Arsenal fan, you go, Tottenham at the Emirates. Oh, we're beating them on the 1st of October this year. Happy days. Job done. Yeah? It's simple. Like, I don't get where their cockiness comes from. I actually watched a couple of your shows yesterday back. I watched the one with Big Steve and with Neeks. Yeah, some of the stuff Neeks was saying in that, by the way, Haaland definitely ain't going to score, yeah? Mate, you need to clip some of this up, Terry, if you haven't. Just go back, yeah, and then get, I don't know if he's been back on since, I haven't seen it, yeah? And then just put them together, right? But I see a gal come in like a wrecking ball and just destroy everyone and then leave. Yeah. But I don't get why they're so cocky. Do you know what they should do next season? Real talk, right? Next season when they play us at the Emirates, don't do a combined 11. Don't try and hit up every single Arsenal content creator. Do not try and do live streams before the game. And no. Just keep quiet. Just shush. Shush, 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 shush. No matter how bad we have been over the years, right? We always beat them at our ground, whether that be Highbury or whether that be the Emirates. So I don't know why they get so cocky. Even the game they beat us 12 years ago, we were 2-0 up in that game and bottled it at the end. Yeah, no, I think Redknapp was manager then. That's how long ago it was. How many managers they had since then? Like, they haven't won a trophy for 14 years, Terry. Yeah, they've got one of the nicest stadiums in Europe, if not the nicest. You could debate it, I suppose. It's a beautiful stadium. They've got one of the best managers in the league, albeit he looked absolutely out of his depth at the weekend, by the way. Can I just say that? And I rate Conte. Yeah, he looked lost, right? I've seen their fans coming out. The easy thing is to go, oh, it's Emerson Royale's fault. That's all they keep saying. It's Emerson Royale's fault. Really? Okay. Well, we had 19 shots in the whole game. 15 were before he got sent off. That's what you're shouting about. Yeah. You can blame Emerson Royale all you want. Who picked him? Who picked him? The manager. You've got Jed Spence sat on the bench. You've got Doherty sat on the bench. The manager's even come out and said, oh, well, Doherty's not been up to speed, which is why, I don't want to lose games. Look at this joker. I know what you're doing. Go away.
I'm confused.
No, Terry.
It's just 2 weeks running. Lee Gunner's been positive about Arsenal.
Terry. Just stop the count, right? Just stop a minute, right? It has taken nearly 3.5 seasons of this manager to get to a point where we have now sat there and won 7 out of 8 games. So all the people that want to come in after the event and say, oh, you're being proven wrong. Well, it's only took 3.5 years, isn't it, mate? Yeah, it's only took 3.5 years. And hold on, I've still not been proven wrong yet, right? Because despite how well we've played, and again, I will say it again, like I said last week, and like I've said in all of my shows in the last couple of weeks and all season, to be fair, yeah, this team has been the best team in the league this season to watch. But it's also been the best team in terms of points. It's been great to watch, and it's been great in terms of results. And there is a but. There is a but. Yeah, there is a but. Terry, let me just say, right? you've known me a very long time. A very long time, yeah?
Yes.
Right? Probably too long. Right? But you have known me a very long time. And the one thing I am is honest. I just say what I think. Like, you know me offline as well as online. What I say offline is exactly the same as what I say online. There's a lot of people out there that don't do that. They say one thing online to get all the traction and what's favorable and fashionable. And then offline, they'll in group chats and private messages to each other, chat completely different. The one thing I am is consistent with my opinion with this manager. This manager so far has been the best manager in the league this season. Granit Xhaka, a player I cannot stand. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. A couple of good months of performances don't write off 7 years, by the way. Yeah, let's not forget he told everyone to jog on and F off and all of that and threw the armband on the floor. He shouldn't even be here. But fair play to him. He has been brilliant this season and he's been Arsenal's best player. I wonder how many people are going to clip all of this, by the way. Probably none, right? Because that won't get him any traction. But there is a but, Terry, and there is a but. We have got a thin squad, a very thin squad. We've probably got 16 players in that squad of 25 that you could say, yeah, they're first teamers. The rest, we've got 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds. We've got Marquinhos, who's only played, what, 1 and a bit games, I think. Yeah, like we've got a lot of players on that bench that are either not going to play a game this season, but are just going to sit on the bench all season, or they're going to come on as a sub when we're 3-0 up in a Europa League game and just get a little bit of a run out. Right? When it comes to the Premier League, well, if Jesus does get booked in whenever it is, he is a suspended man for the following game. He didn't get suspended against Tottenham. I don't know how, because he had 4 yellow card offences waved away, right? But there's a conspiracy, right? But Thomas Partey, that guy we needed a replacement for, yeah, to be a backup, but an adequate backup. We should have been all over Basuma, by the way. Yeah, because if Tottenham can get him, Arsenal will definitely get him. Basuma would have been an adequate backup. If Thomas Partey gets injured again this season, which we know he will because he can't stay fit for more than 5-6 games in a row, and again, I think he's been superb when he's played, then we're back to what? Yeah, well, enjoy it while we can. Cool, fantastic. We're playing great. When I think the second goal went in, I think we had 6 players in the penalty box. That's Man City-esque. Yeah, and we have been that good, Terry, yeah? But I've seen Arsenal be top of the league at Christmas, Terry, and it's all gone sideways and wonky. I've seen Arsenal be 4 points clear with 3 games to go last season and finish 5th. Yeah, when we were 4th. So yes, whilst it was fantastic slapping that lot, I don't see them as my rival anyway. They don't win nothing. I'm 40 and they've won 4 trophies in my lifetime. They're not my rival. Logistically, yeah, historically, in terms of getting back into the league over them and Middlesex and South London, all that stuff, yes, they're a rival. But in terms of trophies and competing for major honours, they're nobody's, mate. So I don't know why they're so mouthy. Right? And the one thing I just want to say as well, right, is whilst it's great, and it has been great, and we've got some good performers on that pitch this season, we could pick 5 players this season comfortably that have been unbelievably good. We have to wrap all of these players up in cotton wool until the World Cup. Yeah, and then hope they don't get injured at the World Cup and then strengthen in January if we want to sustain it. Because I'm not saying we're going to be in a title race, because I don't think we will. But so far, we're setting the pace. And we are actually only 1 point clear, by the way, of Man City, who have not been that great until they battered you. And that is how mad Man City are, is the fact that we've been pretty flawless apart from 1 game. And we are only 1 point clear, and we're about minus 20 goals behind them or something. Like in goal difference, well, we're not, but you know what I mean. But when you look at the teams that are sat 5th, 6th, etc., they've got a game in hand. If they win their games in hand, it's only a 5-point gap. And we've been great. And that is why I sit there and I just go, do you know what? Whilst it's great, if Man United, for as bad as they've been this season, win their game in hand, they're only 5 or 6 points behind us. If Chelsea beat Liverpool as their game in hand at the Bridge, they're only 5 points behind us. That's not a massive gap. Yeah, now we get an injury. Well, Man United have got a bigger squad in terms of more first-team quality than we have. Chelsea have as well. You know, there's other teams in and around that you could put in there. Liverpool, we haven't even spoken about. you know, and Liverpool have been very poor. We've got them next. If we beat them next, then wow, fair play. Yeah, I think that puts a massive gap between us. But at the same time, Terry, we need more recruits in January, mate, because this is not sustainable all season. The very last thing I'm going to say, the fact that the Europa League is miles away from Champions League football maybe gives us a slight advantage this month with 9 games, because I don't think we're going to see Jesus tomorrow. I'll be shocked if Xhaka plays. I'll be shocked if Saliba plays. I'll be shocked if Saka and Martinelli play. We can now rotate that. Yeah, and I still think we'll batter Bodo anyway. And now we can save them more first-team players for the Liverpool game this weekend. So, yeah, enjoy it. But at the end of the season, and I've seen this year after year after year after year after year for a very long time, Terry, yeah? Arsenal being great, and then it just all capitulates. So let's just slow down just for now, because we got 16 players in a squad of 25 that are actually all right. There we go.
See, I was listening.
Is anyone clipping that? Maybe you should clip it.
KJ's backstage. KJ will definitely
clip it. I want to see that on the Clips channel.
KJ will definitely do that. I think, look, from my point of view, I think one of the questions today is, are Arsenal title contenders? And I think that for a lot of Arsenal fans, even people that back Arteta are like, this is still too soon. But I think what you've already done is guarantee a Champions League place for next year. Not once in Premier League history has the team had 20 points or more after 8 games and not qualified. And I have gone back and looked at every Premier League season. No team after 8 games in a 36-game season has had this many points after 8 games and not been involved in the title race. So the foundation you've given yourself is brilliant. And I get the argument of what if injuries happen. Now, I think that injuries argument is only going to impact a potential title race. I don't think any kind of injuries is going to impact you making the top 4, because as much as that point rides true, I said it on the Top 6 show last night, I don't think United are in the top 4 race, but if Man United get that kind of injury, that level of injuries, if Liverpool, if Chelsea, if who the other team that are fighting out for it, Tottenham. Yeah, if any of those teams suffer the same consequences of injuries that you're talking about, they would also find it harder to qualify for the Champions League. And I think there's 2 things Arsenal fans should be looking at here is how much can you maintain these quality of performances and results to get yourselves ready to, for me, as I say, again, I'm only going by the standard that I'm holding Arsenal to and the opinion that I have of them. And that's that by next season, you'll be ready to challenge for titles. And I think if you're actually someone who's Arteta out, or you've been very critical of Arteta, this is actually the most perfect start to a season. Because now you will, and this is the way I would be looking at it if I was in your shoes, is, okay, you've proven to us that you can actually win and play well on a regular basis. You know, you sit in top of the league this early. A manager that's going to be good enough to one day win you a Premier League, at the very least from this position, qualifies relatively comfortably, barring mass injury to your squad, for the Champions League, and gets you ready to challenge for a title next year. If the unthinkable happened and you fall away and you end up finishing 5th from this position, again, barring 10 of your first team players being injured for the rest of the season, that gives everyone the answers that the squad's good enough to play this type of football. Yes, you need to strengthen it, but the manager isn't right. So I think for Arsenal fans, it's almost, whether you're pro Arteta or not, it's win-win from this point, because you've got the foundation. You're not playing catch-up to anybody. You didn't have a bad start where you lost your opening 3 games and you're always behind the curve for large parts of the season. You're leading the way. The only team really, in my opinion, that's been on your level this year, and some will say better, some will say not quite as good because of the points, has been Man City. But I feel you've been a level above every other team.
We've been the best team to watch, Terry, and we've got the results on the board. But let me ask you a question. There's a lot of people in the chat that are saying, oh, but other teams will get injuries. Yeah, that's great. Man City, if Haaland gets injured, well, they're still going to win the league. They've won the league without a striker for the last 2 seasons. Like, come on. Yeah, they won the league 4 out of the last 5 leagues. So let's not pretend that if Haaland gets injured, they ain't winning the league. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Number 1, how many points do you reckon we'll finish behind Man City? Yeah. Number 2, yeah, if we don't get top 4, do you think we will sack him?
So I'll ask the first question again. Sorry, I've had to post something. Ask me the first question again.
How many points behind Man City do you think will finish? Because there was a great comment, it's miles gone now, saying Man City won the league and Ollie finished second. What did that prove? So if Man City win the league and Arsenal finish second, then great, fantastic. But again, I want to be in a title race. If they win the league by a canter, which I think they will, then what? Well done, we qualified for second place, like in Champions League football. Well, Ollie did that at Man United and got sacked in the end. So how many points do you think this season, as it stands right now? Yeah, obviously, don't forget there is a World Cup coming up, Terry, as well, which is a stupid time to have a World Cup, in my opinion. But it is going to cause drama. Yeah, and it is going to cause drama because players are not going to go. I mean, I watched James Maddison's performance last night. I mean, how that guy don't get a game for England is a joke. Yeah, that guy is fantastic footballer, man. Yeah, a player that we should have signed. But how many points do you think we'll finish behind City? And do you think if we don't make top four, he gets sacked?
So I have a feeling if he doesn't make top four, your owners might not sack him. So I'll answer that one first, which would be wrong, in my opinion, from this position. As a general rule, of course, somebody could create a contextual situation where it would make sense, like 10 first-team players get injured for the rest of the season this week. You'd probably give them a pass to a degree, maybe. But I've got a feeling that Arsenal might still stick with him, and I would believe that would be wrong. However, I don't think you will miss out on top four. I think you will qualify, and you will qualify comfortably. To your next point, how many points will you be behind City? I think it will be between 5 to 10 points. However, I think that's if City have one of their typical seasons of getting low to mid 90 points. So if you guys finish your season on 85 points, as an example, and they finish the season on 92, 93, that's a phenomenal season from where you've been without winning the league. Some will call it a title race. Some might not call it a title race. That's down to their opinion. But what that then does, it puts you in a position where the only expectation for him the following season is to be in a title race, because the trajectory's got to keep going up until you're challenging for those major titles on a regular basis. So for me, I believe you'll finish between 5 to 10 points behind City, but you will develop a team where the only space for you to move forward will be the title challenge. And that's when that's where you want to be, right? So that's where I think you're going to get this season. That's what I think he'll develop. Then it's about buying 2 or 3 more players to strengthen this squad, like Gabriel Jesus level and above in various positions, and then saying, well, now we expect you to challenge, because I don't think you can truly back a manager of Arsenal or love Arsenal if your expectation isn't for you to win titles, because your club is too big, too historic, and too shrouded in glory, especially domestically, to not hold that as the ultimate expectation. And that's what I would say to that, mate. That'd be my.
There's a couple of things I want to say. There's a comment. Terry appreciates progress. Lee doesn't. Guess which one is an Arsenal fan? Well, I've seen progress many, many times, mate. I see in 2016 Arsenal finished second. Oh yeah, Leicester won the league. Oh yeah, sorry. Is that progress? 2008, 2009. That was a bit of progress. Ironically, that season we had a younger squad than the project youth that we've got now, and we actually made a Champions League semi-final with that squad. And I think we finished third that season. I might be wrong. So what are you talking about progress? We're sat top of the league after 8 games. Fantastic. There's 30 more to go, mate. We were sat fourth with 3 games. We were sat fourth with 3 games to go, 4 points clear, and finished 5th. Like, I don't understand this. Like, and there was another comment about. There was another one I wanted to read as well. Something about. There we go. Lee, we all know that we're not going to beat Man City, but to be up there with City, with the youngest team, surely that should give give you some positivity. I'll revert back to 08-09. We had a younger squad and we got to a Champions League semi.
Can I defend you, Lee, for a minute here? So this is the thing. Back to that comment around understanding progression versus not. Maybe me and Lee just say it differently. It's not progression if this year you finish 5 points off the top. Say you get 90 points this year and City get 95. It isn't progression if next season you fall off again. The progression only counts if it's continual. Because when you're Man United, when you're Arsenal, when you're Chelsea, when you're Liverpool, when you're City, when you're the size of our clubs, and you spend what we spend, a level of consistency is needed. So say you finish second this year, 5 points behind. Say you finish second the next year, but you're still only 5 points behind, but you're there or thereabouts. I think most Arsenal fans can stomach that. There's no reason to change per se. There might be a reason as to. But if you don't have one season where you drop off and you come fourth, weren't as good, following season you're bouncing back up, that's consistency. Even Fergie had a number of seasons where he came third or he wasn't quite in the title race and he bounced back again. But I don't think fans of clubs the size of ours should be accepting doing really well this season and then dropping off the next, then doing better and then dropping off, and then doing better and then dropping off.
Yeah,
And
totally agree, Terry.
I'm not suggesting that Arsenal fans all think that, but I think sometimes it's just we don't all say things in the same way, and people don't get it that way.
No, Terry. The fact is that a lot of people don't get it right. I've seen Arsenal be great. Yeah, I've seen us win everything apart from Champions League. Yeah, literally the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup. I've seen us win it. Yeah, if you want to count Community Shields, then great. But I've seen us win that. I've seen us do doubles and invincible seasons and stuff like that. There's a comment from a guy called Charles in here. Is it Charles? No, sorry, I'm lying. Yeah, Marcelo. 0809 is a whole generation ago. Yeah, guess what? That was dressed up as a project as well, mate. Yeah. 0809 was a whole generation ago.
I think what
it wasn't dressed up as a youth project. It was dressed up as, we're going down the different road and this generation. And then it's, now that was the British core. Then we had the German core. Now we've got the youth project that was a process. And this is where I get bored of it, because that team in 0809, yeah, if we had just done a little bit more in the transfer window, we probably would have won the league. I think Eduardo got injured that season. I think it was that season. Yeah, Eduardo broke his leg. I'm sure it was that. I may be wrong. But if we had actually gone out in 2016 when Leicester won the league, instead of just signing
that wasn't. Yeah, no, Eduardo broke his leg in about 08, 09. But that was the season where I think you could have got Higuain in the January. I think.
No, that was later than that. That was okay. 210 maybe to 11, because we were linked to him for about 3 years straight. But 08, 09 might be a whole generation ago. Now can you see why I still sit here and moan? Because that was dressed up as this is going to be the future. Then it was the German core. Yeah, do you remember Arsene Wenger standing behind all the British lads signing their contracts? And that was around that time. Yeah, but we did get to a Champions League semi-final that season, and Man United slapped us at our ground. Ronaldo scored a 40-yard free kick against Almunia. But my point is like people are saying City are great, City are this, and City are great, and City are fantastic to watch, and they have got the best manager, they've got the best players, etc., etc. Okay, cool. Yeah. How many of Liverpool's players do you reckon get in City's team? Forget this season. Like the names of Liverpool's players over the last 2 or 3 seasons, how many Liverpool players get in City's team? Not many. Yeah, not many. Yeah, let's be real with it. Not many. Salah, you could say cool, but then you drop in Mahrez. Probably, if you want goal output. If you want, and don't get it twisted, Mahrez is still their top scorer in the last 2 seasons.
You're probably looking at 4 or 5. 4 or 5.
Maybe. Well, who are you putting in there?
I would put off the top of my head, Alisson.
No way.
Alisson's better than Edison.
No way.
Better in goal and as good.
He might be better at saving shots, but that's not how City want to play. So you got to look at the system that they play as well.
Alisson could do the footwork that's needed, I think. But for me,
I think he can. But anyway, Van Dijk could get in their team.
And Alisson, Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Salah that you've already mentioned would get into the team in my opinion.
Mane maybe.
I think Mane at his absolute best over Raheem Sterling. Because we're talking the City team now.
No, we're talking in the last 2-3 seasons. How many Liverpool players get in Man City's team?
I would put Mane in there as well.
So that's 4 players.
And then you could argue at his pomp, at his best, Fabinho at DM.
Never in what over Fernandinho.
What about? I mean, Trent though. What about Trent at right back?
You're crazy, mate. You're taking the piss. Right? So 4 players. Okay, so on that basis, 4 players we're going to fully agree on. I'll let you have the goalkeeper. The City fans even saying the goalkeeper. 4 players out of 11 that get in Man City's team. Right, 4 players. So how have Liverpool competed with them for the last 3 years? Why? Because they've got a top-class manager. Yeah, and they've not got a massive squad, Liverpool. Like people are saying Robertson. Well, that depends, doesn't it? It depends, because could Robertson play in that system? I don't think he can. Could Robertson play as an inverted left back that's basically a number 8? I'm not sure he's that good technically to do it. He's a good left back, getting up and down.
It's a fair argument.
But is he technically good enough to play as basically a CM? I'm not so sure. I don't think he is, mate, if I'm honest. So 4 players, right? 4 players out of 11. So how do they compete every season with Man City when they don't spend more than Arsenal, by the way, let alone Man City? They've spent less than Arsenal in the last 5 years. In fact, longer than that. Yeah. So man said Thiago, bro, the guy's never fit. How are you putting him in? Who are you putting him in over? Bernardo or De Bruyne?
You're not doing not now, not over the last 2 or 3 years. There's no
chance. My point is, Terry, how do Liverpool compete?
Your point,
they compete because they've got a world-class manager.
And I understand that point, Lee. I understand your point, right? And this is where I've said it's win-win for Arsenal. Arteta now will prove whether he is the guy to actually bring you the top silverware or not. However, where the positive, even if he isn't the guy, this is where what Arsenal fans should be focusing on. Let's just say at the end of this season, your owners say, Arteta, thank you for taking us as far as possible. We need to move on. You're ready with if you then have to get a better manager, I think your squad and team's ready with them to go straight away. What you don't need at Arsenal now, in my opinion, is another quote unquote rebuild, cultural reboot, squad overhaul. If you had to get rid of Arteta at the end of the season because he fell off between now and then you heard the word overhaul, I'd be panicking as an Arsenal fan, because that means you're going back to square one. You're ripping it all up and everything else. Viewers, do me a big favor and smash the like and the share button for us. I've got some super chats I want to do here. Let's have this one here. So this is from earlier. I missed this one. I'm very sorry. It says we spend more money than City and are still struggling. And still struggling is as Glazers spend money on players who sell shirts. Don't forget, until Arteta won the FA Cup, he was being compared to Ollie. We need to give Eric Ten Hag time. Thank you, my friend. Big up Terry and Lee. Have you stopped crying yet? Tell bro, your biggest defeat since you lost to us. To be fair, bruv, most teams will get slapped. In fairness, because it was 6-3, it's not the biggest defeat. It's only by 3 goals. So in the end, those goals, as much as they were like they paid with their cracks.
I see the show you did with Jess. Yeah. And she was just sat there like, and you were just going off on one, and she was trying not to laugh. I swear. I was
so triggered. I was so triggered.
Like, I was very triggered. Half, I started crying, mate. Like, literally, because you were already fuming.
I was. This current.
It's always next year, Terry.
Always next year. This current City team and this manager is an what's that word say? Anomaly. Sorry. So I can think if Arsenal's are to come second, regardless of the points gap, City I saw well done. Again, that's also the other argument, because beating a Pep team is going to be hard for most managers in the world because of how good he is. But that's why you've got to be ready for maybe when Pep leaves as well. There's all these scenarios.
This is my point about Liverpool a minute ago. Yeah. Liverpool have had so many injuries. Yeah, let's put it out there. They have had a lot of injuries over the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Last season they were in a quadruple. Do you think they were the best team in Europe last season? Like, real talk, do you actually think Liverpool?
Well, not in the end. They didn't win the 2 biggest trophies. It would indicate
the best team doesn't necessarily always win the Champions League.
You don't need to convince me. The quality of your manager is key, because those managers, like the world-class managers, will generate 15 points for you in a season which is purely off their decision making. And that's why, though, I had this conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, someone said to me, oh, you can't win the league unless you win the league and you're as good as this City team. It doesn't really count anymore. And I don't agree with that notion. And I'll tell you as to why. Because if you won if someone wins the 100 meters Olympic gold medal at the next Olympics, but they don't break Usain Bolt's world record, does that gold medal count for less, do you think, to that person? Do you feel that, like, I'm not really the Olympic champion because I didn't break the world record? It doesn't work like that.
There's 2 different achievements.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't need to beat the Centurions number or win as many games as Pep's team to win. And I will say this about City is what is their run? When Pep leaves, they will still challenge for titles, but I think there'll be a drop-off because there is no replacement for Pep, because he is the best. And that happens
as the replacement.
Yeah.
Baby Pep.
Let's just go through some of these. Critiquing the previous rebuilds failures is absolutely fair, Lee. Jury is still out on this one, but let's not be cynical and treat it as another failure yet, at least until the end of the season. I want to defend you here, though, as I was saying earlier. Lee I've said it before with Lee, me and Lee actually agree on 80-90% of what we say. But I'm more than happy for people to celebrate the progression where Lee's like, I'm not going to bother.
Celebrating.
Well,
am I celebrating?
I was going to say, Lee's views this. I know what Lee's views. He's told me many times. I'm not celebrating until we get there because I've been fooled too many times before, and I'm not. Basically, you're not being dragged in again. Is essentially.
Right, let me say one thing, right? In life, respect is earned. It's not given. Yeah, that's the same in football. Mikel Arteta, should have been thanking Aubameyang for winning that FA Cup for him. Yeah, real talk. Instead, it all went wonky and cool, whatever. Right, but that FA Cup squad that we had, he's got rid of Pepe, he's got rid of Maitland-Niles, he's got rid of what's his name, Aubameyang. They've all gone. They were very vital in that FA Cup run. Ceballos has gone as well. It was actually Dani Ceballos who scored in the quarterfinal after Sheffield United had 2 goals disallowed by VAR, who's apparently against us. Yeah, for offside. And that was the first game in the FA Cup I think Arteta had. To be fair, in the semi-final, I thought we were superb against City. Yeah, and then we were hanging on a little bit at the end, but you're always going to hang on against them at some points because they dominate. Yeah, in the final, on another day, which is always the saying, on another day. Yeah, but guess what? I don't care about another day. I've seen my club win a cup. I've seen them win the trophy. Yeah, unfortunately, I weren't there because no fans were allowed there. Yeah, but
that was lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lockdown one. Or maybe there was fans allowed there. 10,000 was there?
Maybe. No. I think that was the first. It was in 2020. There's no way fans were there. Yeah, there's no way fans were there. 100% no fans. I don't
in 2017, I've seen Arsenal go up against Antonio Conte's record-breaking Chelsea team, record-breaking amount of wins. We've beaten them at the Emirates 3-0. Yeah, and then we got to the cup final against them, and we should have been out of sight until Diego Costa equalised. When Diego Costa scored, you could hear a pin drop in the Arsenal end, and then bang, Ramsey.
That cup final was mad. That cup final was mad because it was the first final I'd ever watched where there wasn't a pundit on planet Earth, including like the Arsenal generic ones that were working for like Arsenal TV and everything, like the actual Arsenal TV channel. Like, no way. And you were brilliant that game.
So that day, right, you've been to Wembley. It's escalators to go up into the ground and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? And it was just a sea of Arsenal fans as you're going up the escalators. But before that, like all the buzz and all of that. But I think everyone was there just to get on the lash and have a good day out and hopefully do a miracle. Yeah? It was not a single. I didn't see Ty before the game. I can't lie, right? But there was not a single Arsenal fan at that game that day that genuinely believed we'd win.
No,
I was there with Tony Rolfe. Yeah, he's a Chelsea fan. Right, and he said, "Oh, I'll meet you after the game when we've slapped you 3 or 4." Yeah, he'd run off. We had to chase him through the car park to get him. Like, where are you going?
When I say this, like
nobody gave us a prayer.
My mates, nobody thought that Arsenal could do it, and my prediction was Arsenal because whenever I see an audience go 100%, this is happening. When I don't, in football, it's different from like fighting. But still, then it's like this weekend. No one I'm speaking to is giving Conor Benn a chance, and I'm like. Makes me think, even though I think Eubanks will win, but I want Conor Benn to. That's another conversation. Boys, I want to just say real quickly, again, we are sponsored by the Football Fan app today. Get it downloaded now. As I've already mentioned, this is a social media app for everyone to connect with football. Every effort is incentivized by fan coins, which can be used to get discounts on top brands, including football shirts as well. What you're also able to do is convert your content into NFTs and trade them in the marketplace on the app. All the content is user-generated, videos, podcasts, photos, and much, much more. What you can also do is use it to keep up to date with live scores, commentary, statistics. There's also in-game events, and I've created one for today, a banter room, as they call them, for the Liverpool versus Rangers game, so make sure you're following me. However, I'm going to give you, they've also got like a private sale going on at the moment for fan coins. They cost 1 penny each. The link for all of that is in the description below. But what I've also done is put a post. You can see the pinned post that I've put on the live chat. That's still a post that I've just put out just now on the fan app. That's what I was doing when Lee was talking. If you follow me today and comment on that, you go into the prize draw to win a football shirt of your choice and a copy of FIFA 23. So that's something that Terrace is going to incentivize you to do, to go and get signed up now. We've already given one out 2 weeks ago in a shirt. We'll do another one this week, and every time the fan Football Fan app sponsors us. So either scan that QR code above me or click on any of the links in the descriptions or live chat and get it downloaded now. It's a brilliant application for football fans, and I will see you over there. I wanted to ask you before the end, very briefly, do you think Liverpool are fading? And if so, why? Because they conceded 3 goals this weekend. Trossard destroyed them at Anfield. They look abysmal, really and truly. What's gone wrong?
7 years of Klopp. He done it at Dortmund. They haven't restocked their inhalers as well. They've got Trent at right back, who's just Bambi on ice. Van Dijk coming back from a massive injury. He's never looked the same since. Plus, he's getting on with age as well. They've allowed Mane to leave, and Diaz just ain't the same level. Like he looks good, he's busy, he runs around a little bit. I've seen their fans saying, "Oh, he's like Alexis Sanchez or like Luis Suarez." Well, he's not though, is he? Yeah, they signed £85 million striker that can't even kick a ball properly. Every time I've seen him kick a ball, he's scuffing it or miskicking it. It's very easy for their fans to turn on their owners. Well, they ain't turned on their owners since Klopp's been there, really, have they? Let's be real. Apart from when they put the prices up and they all walked out. You know, and for the 77th minute, was that Sunderland? I think they were 2-0 up against Sunderland. They walked out and it ended 2-2. So that went well, lads. Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? But like, you've got to give Klopp credit, because I think, I wouldn't say he's overachieved, because I think he could have won more. But with the level of player that he's got, to get them competing, I think that he's done very well. And he has won trophies. He's won 2 last season. He's won the Champions League. He's got to another final that he lost. He's won a league title. He's lost out by 1 point here, 1 point there. I think he's been a little bit unlucky that Man City are so good. But at the same time, he should be demanding more. Yeah. Did he want Núñez? If he did, then wow. Yeah, because that guy, I mean, there's even the chat from Benfica, I think it was, that said we thought he was 40 mil and they offered 85. We took it straight away. Like, I don't know if that was a joke. I don't know. Yeah, like that could just be something that's been put out there just to banter Liverpool. I don't know. But when you look at the fact that Mane wanted to leave, yeah, and they've let him go, and they've got Diaz in there, Jota's constantly injured, although I think he's a top player. If they could keep Jota fit, yeah, I think they'll fly up the table. Yeah, and in my opinion, they should play him up front. Yeah, he forget Noodles or Núñez, whatever you want to call him. Forget him, because that guy ain't the guy, mate. Yeah, he really ain't the guy. 85 million, Terry, like that is insane, right? And nobody's going to talk about it at the moment, because they're going to talk about Liverpool in general and Klopp and FSG, and they're going to dominate all of that chat. Nobody's actually going to talk about this striker until maybe middle of next season when he flops again. Yeah, because he ain't going to do nothing for Liverpool. He's got no first touch. Yeah, he's got no second touch. He'll score a few goals because of their system, but he ain't all that at all. They would have been better off if they wanted to go down a different route of going with a striker. They would have been better off with Divock Origi up front for the season. Like, real talk. At least that guy can score. I'm not even taking the piss with it. At least that guy can score goals. That guy affects games. That guy is a nuisance. He's got a better first touch. Yeah, he's stronger than him. He's better in the air than him. Yeah, and he knows where the back of the net is. It's all well and good doing it in Portugal, no disrespect, yeah, but that league technically is one of the best. Like, it's in probably the top 3 technical leagues. They're all very good on the ball. Yeah, apart from him, yeah, which is mad. But I think that Trent is just no good. Yeah, and I think the fact that he just, like Rant says it to me all the time, he just closes his eyes and just boots it as hard as he can and hopes he hits the spot. Yeah, and then he'll get 1 assist out of 30 crosses. Then, oh, he's got assists. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, at the end of the day, I think they've signed some bad players in the last few windows. Like Thiago Alcantara, what a footballer. Like, real talk, fantastic footballer to watch when he's on it, yeah? But again, he's made a glass since he's come here, right? Then you've got Keita. I know they signed him a long, long time ago. That was a lot of money they signed him for. Oxlade-Chamberlain was a lot of money they signed him for. So let's not pretend that Liverpool's recruitment's been great, because it ain't. It's been hit and miss. Yeah, but because the rest of the league, other than them and City, have been pretty whack in the last 4 or 5 years, they've been getting away with it. Now, you see teams like Brighton for the last 3 seasons in a row, Terry, have gone there and not lost. They went there and beat them. They've gone there last season, were 2-0 down and ended up getting a draw and having a goal disallowed. And then this season, they've gone there, they've gone 2-0 up, they've gone 3-0 down, they've gone ta-ta. Trossard's a fantastic player, by the way. He won't be at Brighton much longer. They're top player. But I think it's a culmination. And I've said that before the Liverpool game. I'm not even joking with it. People that watch my channel on regular know I rate Trossard. But I think it's a culmination of the fact that Trent ain't that good. Van Dijk's, I wouldn't say finished, but when he's got Trent next to him and he can't get to the level that he was himself 18 months ago, that side is a massive issue for Liverpool. Yeah, and then when you've got Salah bang out of form, and being highlighted after signing a contract to pretty much exactly the same as what Aubameyang did, signed a big deal, gave it all the big talk and didn't really do anything. Then you look on the midfield, they've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, they're still playing James Milner. Yeah, they've got Fabinho, who's, mate, like he needs some WD-40, real talk. He is stiff, like real stiff. Like he has got no turning circle other than the Titanic. He can't turn quick enough. Game's passing by now. He's better off playing at centre-back. Yeah, but I'm not going to mug them off too much after I've just rinsed them for 3 minutes. Yeah, because they are still...
They might batter you this weekend.
We've got them this weekend, so I better shut up. But they have a very good manager who will pull them back up the table. And Konate's back. He's a top player. And Matip's been very good for them. But if I was them, it's a big call. If I was them, I'd drop Van Dijk and play Matip and Konate. Because I think that would be better athletically for Trent than it would with Van Dijk.
Mate, I've said it a few times. Klopp's responsible for the way they're playing, partly because he isn't making the big calls by dropping underperforming stars, which is really interesting because he's one of the best managers in the world, man managers, and he's playing these guys through poor form and they're not getting better. So he's almost sacrificing point after point after point by keeping them in the team. In terms of what they've invested in, you're right. I mean, the club hasn't spent enough. There's been in recent years. They had 2 summers running where they spent, I think, 156 and 163 million pounds. Then they spent 9 million, 75, 78, followed by 81. They've spent money, but they've slowed down. And the problem is the fans should be fuming at that because other teams around them are spending more and developing, and people will look at great things Liverpool did and will copy those good elements and everything else. Liverpool needed to go up another level. Liverpool fans have also been lied to, and they've been towing the party line too much. When they signed that new Nike deal 3 years ago, we're going to get like commission on every single piece of merchandise. We're going to have more money. They extended the stadium. That's going to produce millions of pounds more per home game. TV deal money had gone up for everybody. All their sponsors have improved, and yet they're spending less than they were before the new money came in. For me, I'd be knocking on the door saying, what the hell is going on? Klopp's got to ask more questions because Liverpool are only judged. Listen, they're a well-run team in lots of areas and well-run club in many, many areas. They haven't been run like the Glazers or anything like that. They've done well. However, Liverpool's commodity, what they trade in is trophies. And to go through this era of how good they've been and to just have one league and one Champions League, it's good, it's very good, but it isn't Liverpool good. It makes it, in Liverpool's greatest teams, it makes it the lowest ranking one based on what other teams have done before. And they could spend more money, in my opinion. They could have easily spent 150, 160, 170 million this summer. They
didn't need to do 85 on one player, Terry. They could have split that. When they can see that their midfield is full of 30-year-olds.
Even then, bro, they could have done, but even then, they could have spent 80 million on him and they could have gone and bought themselves a top-class midfield player. Like, it was doable. It was absolutely doable.
They would have been better off going and signing Ivan Toney for about 50, 60 million quid and then putting the other 25 million towards a midfielder. Yeah, because they need a midfield. They could have gone and got Maddison.
Bro, they could have, mate, they could have got, even with Nunez, but let's take Nunez out, they said. Say Toney for 50 million, Maddison for 45, 50 million, Ruben Neves for 40, 50 million pounds. Those 3 players elevate the team. I've said it before, they've got to work something out with Trent. They've got to get Trent further forward and stop him from defending because he cannot defend. And Gary Neville, it was kind of funny watching him on TV standing in positions, but he broke it down basically last night. The guy, I've said this about Trent so many times. I don't think he's lazy. I don't think he chooses not to go with runners. He just has no real defensive awareness. He doesn't actually know he's making the mistakes. He doesn't know how to position his body because he's not a bloody defender. He is, he's not a fouled winger because he's brilliant at the attacking side of things. But he's a winger. He's a forward.
Yeah, is he brilliant at the attacking things, Terry? Because he don't go past a man. Yeah, he just stands there and boots across into the box and hopes somebody heads it. Like, so is he brilliant as an attacker? No, I'm not even taking the piss. Like, Terry, real talk, right? If you compare Trent as a right winger and put him against Bukayo Saka as a right winger, for instance, yeah? Very similar ages. Yeah, they're both English and they both play at big football clubs. Who would you rather in your team? As a right winger, forget defensive side of it. As a right winger, you said he's good at attacking and all that. Who would you rather, Saka or Trent? Because Saka ain't aiming 30 crosses in the box every week. I'm not getting nowhere.
Oh, Saka. I've just said it. Saka. I'll take Saka.
There you go then. So Trent ain't all that attack then, neither is he?
But equally, though...
Would you rather him or Kulusevski?
Who?
Kulusevski at Tottenham, right wing. Would you rather him
Kulusevski, I understand that, but I don't...
You can go all the way through the top six. Would you rather him or Zayed? Him or Mahrez?
No, but you're not... Again, bruv, that isn't the point I'm making. You're right. But what I'm saying is he needs to be developed more further forward because he isn't going to get any better at being a defender. He could be improved going forward because he's got good attributes on the attacking front. He's got very good attributes on the attacking front for me. But I think there's so many problems that they've got right now at Liverpool. And I got it wrong. I thought they were going to have a really good season. I thought the disappointment...
Sorry, don't rule them off yet, mate.
No, but rule them off. No, but I'm ruling Liverpool off based on their standards. The only successful season for Liverpool is winning a league title or being in the title race. That isn't going to happen. So it's a failure for them. They've already fouled.
How do you know they're not going to be in a title race?
There's no way.
How many points behind Man City and Arsenal are they? Let's have a little look.
I want to say 10 points.
Right, let's have they've got a game in hand against Chelsea, yeah? Right, so they are currently sat on 10 points. They're 11 points behind Arsenal. But they do have Arsenal this weekend, and they have a game in hand.
Okay, and I get that.
Liverpool fans will be sitting there in the chat, Terry, saying, well, if we beat Arsenal, which we normally do, and then we win our game in hand.
Yeah, I get that. But the point is, the reason I'm writing them off is that you are going to beat them this weekend. And they're not and their game in hand, I swear it's
because we're in good form,
and their game in hand is away against Chelsea.
Yeah.
So for me, if they play both those games in the next 7 days, they lose both. They are so poor right now. Like for me, this is the thing when you're at Liverpool standard. When you're where Arsenal have been, you don't look at it this way, but most people do. Success is progressing back to getting back into title races. For Liverpool, not being in a title race is regression and failure because they've been there for 3 or 4 years now. Their season Premier League wise is almost finished. They'll make the top four
in the title race a few years ago, Terry, when they had 26 different centre back pairings and still made top four. That was 2 years ago.
I get that, but they're not there. Liverpool.
But then they came back last season, didn't they?
But they might come back next year, but Liverpool just making the top four, not being in a title race, is a failure.
In comparison to last season, yeah. Because the drop off from last season of being in all 4 trophies until the death and then doing what they're doing right now. But let's not forget, there is another 31 games for them, right? 31 games and 30 for us, right? Let's not rule them out just yet because I don't think they're finished. Yeah, they've got too good a manager there and they've got some very, very good footballers there, right? And they're just in a bad run of form at the moment. And it's been like that since the start of the season. I watched them against Fulham on the opening day. They've been shocking. They've got too many players at that football club that are the wrong side of 30 that they didn't address. So you can put that towards FSG, but then you've also got to put a bit of blame on Klopp by not demanding more.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think a bit of blame on Klopp for that and playing certain players. And I keep hearing like Liverpool fans say, we've got no one we can play at right back if we drop Trent. And it's a case of...
We'll play Gomez there.
You've got an academy as well. Like Trent come from your academy, take an academy player. The irony in it is this.
Why didn't they go and spend some money on a right back this summer? They could have gone and got Walker Peters for cheap.
I get that. But my point is this. If you've got a player that's so bad, he's costing you goals every game. If you give an academy player a game, he's only going to be as bad. It can't get worse by doing it, but you might get better. I remember when we Sanchez left, and they're like, oh, I don't like talking about him much now, but when Greenwood was coming in, but Greenwood, though, will he be as good? Sanchez scored 5 goals in 18 months. So as long as he scores at least 5 goals in 18 months, he's been as good. Like, it can't be worse. When a player's performing that badly, it can't get worse. It just can't. This is the low for an elite level club. The way Liverpool are playing is awful. They're currently sitting, where are they in the league? 9th. Look how bad Man United's season has been.
But however, Terry, they have only lost one game.
Yeah, they have. And what's
got them killing them?
Yeah, but what's got them through? What's got them, and what's interesting as well is what's got them through is two things. What's kind of papered over crap.
Goals came in one game, though.
Exactly. There was the Bournemouth game that gave them all those goals, and they've still got some attackers that are elite and will score them through matches. But as an overall team, they have been out of the top 6. I would say over the whole season so far, they've been the worst of the top 6. There's no doubt. But based on expectation, where they sit, quality of manager, it's been an absolute shocker for Liverpool. And I think they can come back. But the problem they've got this time around, even if they rebuild in the same Moneyball way, is I think Arsenal and I think Chelsea and maybe even Tottenham are so much better than they were the last time Klopp's team was trying to rebuild into title races. That changes the spectrum of things somewhat, because it's not they only had to compete with City. City were amazing, but nobody else was anywhere near title level contention. They were so far ahead of everybody else. It was a 2-horse race. Suddenly now you've got Spurs and Chelsea will be back, and Arsenal are flying. And it's like, oh my God, there's loads of good teams this time.
And Newcastle, don't forget them.
Yeah, Newcastle will be there. Will here with a super chat says, as 6, 8, and 10 who would you prefer? For me, Trent either needs to play wing back or midfield. Klopp's loyalty to players is affecting us.
Trent ain't good enough to play for a top 6 team if you want to continuously compete. And people say that's stupid because they have done. Yeah, but he's being found out. And Van Dijk has covered that guy so many times, but now Van Dijk can't cover him anymore because Van Dijk's injury has crippled him going forward in the capacity that he had before. He's not the player he was. I'm not even taking the piss, Terry. You're laughing. I'm not.
No. I wasn't laughing.
I rate Van Dijk as the best centre back on the planet. But I'll tell you something, mate. Yeah, he's never going to get back to the level he was a few years ago.
He isn't. He isn't because of his injury. Oh, it's because of his injury and his age.
Injury's killed him off.
It's injury and age, and Man United had the best.
And now he's got a player that can't defend next to him that he can't cover because he can't get over quick enough.
Exactly. Man United had the best centre back pairing in Premier League history, in my opinion, in Vidic and Rio. In terms of what they in terms of and this can't be in terms of what they won, a 3-peat and a Champions League, and they had the longest run ever as a centre back pairing to go without conceding a goal. So I just look at and whether it's the best top 2, top 3, top 5, I don't really care. My point is more, but when they hit a certain age and their bodies started letting them down, it's over. You need to move on. But to replace and get back to Van Dijk's level, you've got to go out and spend £100 million on the best centre back in the world to maintain where Liverpool were. And FSG are not going to do it.
Or you could spend 80 on Harry Maguire.
Yeah, you could. I mean, they can. I mean, Liverpool fans said that to me, and I'm like, it's great. You can laugh at United, but that isn't going to make your defense any fucking better either, is it? Lee, what clubs outside of Arsenal do you admire and why?
Atletico Madrid. I love their manager. Oh, but he plays boring, negative, park the bus football. Anyone who says that, don't watch him. Real talk. Nobody watches him if they say that. Yeah, I love him, man. I'd love Simeone to be our Arsenal manager, but yeah, that shows you that you can compete with the 2 big boys in the league, because the way the money works over here in terms of dividing it up into the league, yeah, I think 90% or 85% of it goes to the top 2. So for them to have even dragged themselves into a position of Champions League finals, Europa League winners, like winning league titles and stuff like that against 2 of the biggest teams on the planet, fair play to Atletico, man. Other than that, maybe Marseille now, Alexis Sanchez, Guendouzi. I mean,
Arsenal's like veterans team there over there. There we go. Someone asked me, would I take Klopp over Ten Hag right now?
If you say no, you're dumb.
Loyalty, no. Actuality, yes. Of course, he's a better manager right now, so I would. But out of loyalty, I would say.
There is no loyalty in football, Terry.
There is when you're a fan. Fans have loyalty, But
Well, that's the only time there is loyalty. Yes, that's
yeah,
one.
So that's what I mean.
We ended up drawing the show.
As a fan, no. As a football person and as a football, as someone who, like, if I take my Man United hat off, then yeah, of course I would. Viewers, listen, very much appreciate you all tuning in. Terry, keep disrespecting Trent.
Oh, you watched Trent bag a brace against Arsenal with 3 kicks at the weekend.
It's not about disrespect. It's not about. This is what's crazy. It isn't disrespect to point out he's defending poorly. I'm saying this now to Liverpool fans. Every Liverpool fan that keeps protecting him is going to make him worse. You've got to criticize him and make your club and him take ownership and improve him. The way you're trying to improve him by playing him through it isn't working, and you're falling out of the title race, and it's ending your season. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm respecting Liverpool Football Club by saying it, in my opinion. But viewers, listen, make sure you smash like buttons before you leave. Get the Football Fan app downloaded right now. Scan that QR code. Click on the links in the descriptions or live comment, live functions as well. It's an amazing app. Just get yourself using it now. Comment here says the 09 team would get battered by the current back 5 with utter rubbish and no CDM. You keep neglecting context. 09 was less competitive to now. Golfing quality of top 6, no longer top 4, deep and wide. Again, Dane, I disagree as well. I think the quality in the the best quality across the multiple teams we ever had in the Premier League was from sort of 04 right through to like 2012. We also dominated Europe at the same time. I think it's nonsense to suggest that people. I'm going to assume you're either a City or a Liverpool fan. Most City and Liverpool fans say the quality now is better because they want to elevate these two teams as the best two ever. It's different, and comparing eras is very, very hard.
The Champions League finals are like between us all. We got to from 04 to 2012.
Absolutely. However, but it's. The reason my comparison wasn't saying the eras are different. I was talking about when the body gets old and you can't run anymore. That's what happens. Equally, I do actually think Man United's 08 team could challenge for a Premier League title and Champions League.
Was that the season that John Terry thought he was going to be the hero and hit the post off the pen? Was that the season?
Yes.
You beat us.
And the reason that I say
was that the season you beat us in the semi, and then you got the penalties.
No. The following year we beat you in the semis.
Oh right, sorry, I'm lying. Yes, you're right.
But in terms of that Man United team, when you look back at that team, barring Wes Brown, he wasn't the best technically. That team had like Rio and Vidic at the back. We had Everett left back. It had a midfield that comprised of Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, and Hargreaves, which is physical, quick, and not quick, but physical and technically brilliant. And then at a front three of Tevez, Rooney, and Ronaldo that had speed, physicality, and technical ability. To suggest that Man United team couldn't perform in the modern day game, no, I thank you for the super chat, Dane, but for me, it's almost sacrilegious to the game. Listen, viewers, until next time, everybody. I'm not sure Lee fell out there. He's back again. Here he is. Until next time, everybody.
I'll take her out. I'm going live with Rants now. Come and watch me smoke him about Man United.
Go check out League on the channel right now, people. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. I'll see you all again very, very soon.